Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy, the Flight Mike, coming back at you guys with some more NBA news. And I'd like to apologize for you guys to not getting any news to you out there yesterday. I didn't really feel like telling you guys that Kevin Durant was going to change his jersey number from number 35 to number 7 was really newsworthy. So I decided to work on another video instead, the video about Lou Williams and his twin wives. If you haven't checked that out, I'm going to leave a link to that in the description down below. But let's get on to today's news. Most news now is either about Russell Westbrook potentially getting traded to a new team, and we're going to get on to that as well. But at this point of free agency has gone on for a little bit over a week. This is the point where all the role players are now signing with various teams. So the very first news we're going to get to is the Oklahoma City Thunder make a trade, but it's not a Russell Westbrook trade. It is Jabari Grant to the Denver Nuggets for a 2020 first rounder after the Paul George deal. Now, at this point, it makes sense. It seems to me that the OKC Thunder have a ton of first round draft picks. They are like completely stacked with first round picks for the next couple of years after that Paul George trade. Now they're going to try to complete this trade to shed Jeremy Grant's salary, and it will trim their luxury tax bill from $71 million to $13 million from the beginning of free agency, given that the fact that they also traded Paul George. This is personally, I think it's a great trade considering the fact that the team that the Thunder built previously, I said this in a different video, that the Thunder built a great team, but they were a consistent first round exit and they were paying the luxury tax. And honestly, that is just never worth it at all whatsoever. Now, on to some more news. I know a lot of you guys are over the Kawhi Leonard stuff, but I personally thought that this was very interesting. Kawhi Leonard tried to recruit Kyrie Irving before Paul George got traded to the Clippers. So we all know about that power move where Kawhi Leonard rescued Paul George from the OKC Thunder that were consistent first round exits and pretty much finessed the Lakers to build probably one of the greatest big threes in basketball history. And check this out. Kevin Durant got a call from Kawhi Leonard asking if he'd consider teaming up with him and signing with the Clippers, and that they'd be great complements with each other. Leonard told Durant he'd always admired him and had tremendous respect for him as a competitor. Kevin Durant was flattered and more than a little stunned, according to sources close to the situation, because he didn't know Kawhi that well. So getting a recruiting call like that made a real impression. Paul George came out and even vouched for Kawhi Leonard's recruiting abilities, saying that for a quiet guy, he's a hell of a recruiter. So in convincing George to push for a trade out of OKC, and in convincing the Clippers that landing both Leonard and George was worth giving up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari, 4 future first round unprotected picks and 1 future protected first rounder and 2 pick swaps, Leonard definitely changed the way the NBA is. Now on to some other news, and this news is very near and dear to my heart. A lot of you guys are going to think I'm weird, but I'm a pretty big Jabari Parker fan, and I know that might seem a little random, but I've been following him since before Duke. I've been following him since he was at Simeon High School. I had tremendous respect for his game, and I can't help but feel like he would be a great player in the NBA if he didn't completely destroy his knees. Like, both of his ACLs were torn. He didn't really get a chance to prove himself in Milwaukee once he tore his second ACL. He was actually coming into his own next to Giannis, and before you know it, he goes to sign with the Chicago Bulls, which I personally think is what you're supposed to do when you're a former top 2 pick that is stuck on a team that already had figured out how to play well without you. So he goes to the Bulls, and the Bulls were honestly a mess last year, or he just didn't play very well last year, or the system didn't work out for him. Whatever the excuse you want to make for him, he got traded to the Washington Wizards. And of course, he had that inflated $20 million contract, so no team wanted to take that on for his second year. He was not worth that type of money. So the Atlanta Hawks get a great scorer to put next to Trae Young and Jabari Parker. But what's very strange to me is I don't really know what role Jabari Parker is going to play with the Hawks here because the Atlanta Hawks already drafted DeAndre Hunter with the number 4 overall pick, taking on the contract of Solomon Hill to do so and giving up a lot of picks to do so. And then at the number 10 pick, they came out and drafted Cam Reddish. And now they signed Jabari Parker to a 2-year, $13 million deal. Now, I understand if you're Jabari Parker, this is the place you want to go to rebuild your stock, but I really don't understand what Atlanta's doing, because if you have 2 wings at top 10 positions, you want to give them playing time. Now, I also understand that DeAndre Hunter is more of a power forward than a small forward. I understand that Cam Reddish is a shooting guard, small forward, and I respect that, but if you're Jabari Parker, you are trying to rebuild your stock at this point. Going to a rebuilding team, that is probably the best way to do that, with Trae Young on that squad being the only notable scoring figure there so far. But honestly, I really hope it works out for him. His career has been very tragic. I think he has a lot of talent. He just needs to step up his game defensively. And I feel like defense could actually be taught in the NBA. But at the same time, he did tear his ACL. He did get sapped of some of his athleticism. So who knows what's going to happen? Do you think Jabari Parker could rebuild his stock? Do you think he could be great again? Let me know in the comment section down below if you think he could ever have a Victor Oladipo-esque career and resurrect his career. I really hope he does, because honestly, that 2014 draft class was supposed to be Andrew Wiggins and Jabari Parker changing the league, and so far Wiggins and Parker have been disappointing, but Joel Embiid has been a beast. So hopefully that works out for him. But the final bit of news I really want to make here is my Los Angeles Lakers coming out over here and signing Avery Bradley to a 2-year, $9.7 million contract. Now, a lot of Laker fans have been very frustrated with how the offseason's gone after the Anthony Davis trade, which is kind of funny because a lot of Laker fans were also frustrated, a different type of frustration, when they were able to sign LeBron James but not really build around him. But having a team with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, bringing back Kyle Kuzma, Rajon Rondo, JaVale McGee, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, while signing Avery Bradley and DeMarcus Cousins, Danny Green, Troy Daniels, Jared Dudley, and Quinn Cook is a significant improvement to what the Lakers were dealing with last year. Just off the top of my head here, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players that could shoot the 3 ball. There's going to be a significantly more spaced out floor around LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And honestly, I think that's the main point of emphasis for the Los Angeles Lakers here. Now, Avery Bradley's last very good season was in 2016 to 2017 with the Boston Celtics. Once Avery Bradley got traded from Boston to Detroit and then to the Clippers and then to Memphis, he was really not the same player for quite some time. Looking at his player efficiency rating, we see that he went from a 14.4 in Boston to a 9.7 in Detroit to a 5.5 on the Clippers, and that's very unfortunate considering the fact that when he was on the Clippers, he was actually playing for his former head coach at some point. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Doc Rivers only coached for Avery Bradley for like 2 to 3 years, and Avery Bradley did have one of his better seasons under Doc Rivers. Hopefully there's something he could do in Los Angeles on the Lakers that could really build up his stock again. But at the very worst, the Lakers are taking a very low risk here as they wait for Andre Iguodala to potentially get bought out by the Memphis Grizzlies to hopefully round out their bench. As a Laker fan, this is where my personal opinion comes in. I would love to see Andre Iguodala on the team. I think if we do get him, it would pretty much complete our team. You would have 3 former Golden State Warriors on that team, 3 players that have been to the NBA Finals with the Warriors, teaming up with LeBron James, who already has tons of experience. And that is enough to pretty much get this team set for hopefully being able to make it out of a competitive Western Conference. I know they're not even the favorite in Los Angeles currently to make it out of the Western Conference, but believe it or not, I do think the Lakers have a great team and they could make a nice run. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of today's news. And let me know, I also really want to get your opinion here. Where do you think Russell Westbrook's going to get traded to? Besides that, I'm your boy, The Flight Mike, and I'll catch you guys later.